So, ladies and gentlemen, would you please meet my dear friend, your dear friend, the kid from South Philly like me, who wrote a book, Bobby Rydell, Bobby Rydell. Now, you're over there. Over there.
Thank you.
Masetto una momoga.
I sit.
Do they know what that means? Tell them.
Means to sit.
Sit.
Sit in Italian. I sit.
Now, perché?
Perché? Because la vacchiaia got on you.
He said he's young and old, so he's got to sit.
Because I'm old.
No.
Why do you think I'm in the wheelchair?
I said to them, you will not come out on a wheelchair.
No, I will not come out on a wheelchair.
Did I say that the other night, right? Somebody said to me...
But I'll be sitting a lot, if you don't mind. Huh?
Whoa!
Been there, done that.
Wait a second.
I've been on a lot of gurneys.
That's interesting. Do they know that about... This is the Bionic Man. Did you know that, ladies and gentlemen? You're a survivor.
Yeah, well, that was all because of a young lady. Her name's Julia. She became my donor. And she was from Reading, Pennsylvania, 50 miles. Really? How about that? Anyway, she was hit by a car and immediately pronounced brain dead, which is the only way that you can get organs, you know. So I forget when we got the call, yada, 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 and Jefferson Hospital called me, and they said that they have a donor. And when I do my shows, and please, you know, forgive me for, but, you know, I'll say it again tomorrow night, you know, if you're not an organ donor, I would say, like, the next time you apply for your new driver's license, as a favor to me, please become an organ donor, because it truly is the gift of life.
Okay? It really is. You know, Bob, we were talking, the Letterman, as you and I know, began with Paul Whiteman, when Paul Whiteman had a review going way, way back. Now, these people know about Dick Clark and all of that, the importance of Dick Clark.
Right.
But tell them the importance of Paul Whiteman.
Well, Paul Whiteman had a show in Philadelphia called the Paul Whiteman TV Teen Club, and it gave young talent a chance to get a break. And I was 10 years old when I was on the Paul Whiteman TV Teen Club show. And Sammy Davis Jr. recorded a record of the old song, Because of You. Remember, because of you, there's a song, yada, yada, yada. One side he did actors doing singers, and the other side he did singers doing actors. So I did the side of actors doing singers, and I did Because of You, like James Cagney and
Do
Jerry.
a little bit. Do it like you did it.
Because of you, there's a song. Yeah, there's a song in my heart.
10 years old.
Yeah. Well, the only reason I'm in the business, and you know it more than anybody else, Jerry, is because of my dad. If I had any talent within me whatsoever, my dad was the first one to see it. He used to take me around the nightclubs when I was 7, 8 years old. Yeah. Asked the club owner, is it all right if my son got up and sang, you know, sings a couple of songs and does a few imitations? You know, so I go up, I'm 7, 8 years old, I'm doing imitations, I sing a song, and everybody applauds.
Yeah.
I said, all I have to do is do that, they do this?
You know...
That's wonderful.
You know,
I never had a job in my life.
Well, I said that. Your only job has been show business. But, you know, same thing with Avalon.
Yeah.
He was playing trumpet. Al Martino said to Gleason when he did the Gleason show.
Exactly.
He said, you got to hear this kid beep it a bop it a bop, and Gleason was rehearsing.
Beep it a bop it a boop.
Beep it a boop it a bop it a boop.
Bada bang.
And so Gleason said, well, let me hear the kid rehearsal.
Play tenderly.
Yes. Wow.
On the Gleason show, Frankie, he was, I think, 10.
He was 10 years old.
Play tenderly. Yeah.
You know,
Good player.
I said earlier, I mean, this is the only business you know all of your life. You know,
Yeah,
and it's been a wonderful business, not only for you, but for all of the performers. that have been a part of what we call show business. There's no more show business like you.
No. My God, I have the good fortune. Our show, I think, is Wednesday and then again Friday. And a gentleman who I've known for God knows how many years, and his name is Stewie Stone. And he's going to be with me on Wednesday and Friday. And the reason we were talking, by the pool and back about, the people we were talking about, the comedians, the singers from way back then, and really the business isn't. Not today.
Back in the circuit, there were so many comedians in Philadelphia. The Celebrity Room, which featured all comedians and Jewish comedians back then.
Absolutely.
And as a matter of fact,
well, wait a minute. All of the comedians were Jewish. The singers were Italian, and the comedians were Jewish.
Well, something, you're right.
The only great singer that I know who was funny as well was Steve Lawrence.
Steve Lawrence, yep. Yeah.
Steve Lawrence is, God bless him. He's funny. He called me one time, it was after a book signing. I think we were at an Albies. Albies? No, what's the restaurant? Applebee's. Albies.
No, they sell Apple. You were selling books in Applebee's?
No.
That's breakfast.
It was after the book signing. So my cell rings, and it's Steve Lawrence. And I said, hey, everybody, it's Steve. Is it people, my wife and a couple of friends. So Steve says, Bobby, I have a joke for you. I said, go ahead, Steve. He said, this guy goes to the doctor, and the doctor says to the patient, in one word, tell me how you feel. The patient says, good. Doctor says, okay, in 2 words, tell me how you feel. The patient said, not good.
That's another thing you brought out about Steve. In the small business, which is called show business, which is a big business, we become friends with these people all these years. And I'll give you an example. Tell them about the story with Sinatra when you were at the Copa, when you were going to meet Frank.
You blew it. I was going to do that
tomorrow
night.
We didn't rehearse this.
No,
we didn't rehearse this.
Wait a second. I'll do it on Wednesday. Why am I talking Jewish all of a sudden?
Because we talked about Stewie Stone.
All of a sudden, I'm hanging around Stewie Stone too long. Gewelte fish.
What? But Copacabana. When you appeared.
I just told you once.
Oh, no, but forget Sinatra. When you appeared at the Copacabana, forget Frank wasn't there. What happened is, and I think you'll agree, Bobby Darin broke the mold for us.
Absolutely.
Going into the Copa. The Copa, as Bobby can say, was owned by Jules Podell. And they had Sinatra, Sammy Davis, Sophie Tucker, all of the real stars of show business. But in 1959, Bobby Darin made an album called That's All. And it changed the way a nightclub like the Copa looked at rock and roll. And they booked him for a prom week.
Absolutely. Bobby was the stepping stone for a lot of us guys. Yeah, he was. His son came to see me.
Todd
Darin.
Todd.
And a wonderful family, his wife, his 2 children. And I do a couple of things. I do a tribute to Bobby in my show because I knew Bobby very, very well. We were dear friends. And Dodd gave me, it was a frame. It was all wrapped up. And I took it back in the dressing room. And then after the show, Dodd comes back, his wife and his 2 children, and he said, open it up. So I opened it up, and in the center is a picture of Bobby Darin and Dodd when he was like 3 years old. Because I'm a drummer, I've been a drummer all my life since 5 years old when I saw Gene Krupa with the Benny Goodman Band, yeah. On the left side of the chart of the frame is the original drum chart, the studio drum chart of Mac the Knife.
Oh, wow.
On the right side is the original studio drum chart of Up the Lazy River. I said, Dodd, I can't take this. He said, yes, you can. Yes, you can. You're one of the guys who was keeping my father's memory alive. I don't know if any of you ever had the chance to see Bobby Darin live. No? Yeah.
What? Huh?
When he started up in the mountains, in between shows, he used to want to make extra money. Babysat me. And my parents, he told, and my sister, and
Where were you living at the time? So he came from the Catskills all the way to Brooklyn?
we were in the Catskills.
Huh?
We were in the Catskills, and he babysat for me.
In the Catskills.
Correct.
Ah.
And he said, when I used to cry, he told my parents, he opened the drawer, and he used to, I was a baby, an infant. He used to put me in the drawer.
He was trying to stash you in a drawer? Did he know you had any money in the house? You didn't know.
Put me in the drawer, and I would immediately stop crying. Besides,
Well, that's a way to make you stop crying. You can't breathe.
That's right. He either left it open or he closed it, you know. Shut up.
But Darin opened up the Copa, and you know, the one performer that failed the first time was Sam Cooke.
He failed?
Sam Cooke was booked in,
I remember.
and boom, and Jules Podell fired him after the first 2 days. And then when he came back with signing with RCA Victor a year later, he hit.
And then he hit. Sam Cooke was great, man. Wow. Sam was wonderful.
Gospel.
More or less, yeah, that's how he started.
Started
as a gospel.
with the,
Yeah.
Right.
Jules Podell. He was about 4'5".
You want to tell the story?
No, I'm not going to tell the story. He had no neck, 4'5". He talked like this. Hey, how you doing? Everything all right? One story I'll tell. I was upstairs because he used to dress at the Hotel 14,
right.
the Copacabana.
Norby Walters.
Never had a dressing room till later on. So anyway, there was a guy by the name of Doug Cowdy, who was the sound man, and Doug stuttered, and he would call me at the Hotel 14, but Bob, you got 15 minutes. And this would go every night, So when the phone rang and it was Doug, I said, yeah, I know, 15 minutes, But he calls me. It was the very first night that I opened at the Copa, right? And he said, Bob, Mr. Podell wants to see you in the kitchen. Okay, so I'm 19 years old, take the elevator down, walk through the lobby into the Copa. And there's Jules Podell sitting at the cash register.
Naturally.
Yeah. And the Copacabana, the kitchen, you could eat off of the kitchen floor. It was spotless. It was pristine. And Jules Podell is talking to all of the cooks and so on and so forth, and he goes like this. Gentlemen, this is Bobby Rydell. The kitchen goes like this. Yay, yay, yay. Podell turns to me and goes like this. How do you like that, kid? I said, gee, it's nice, Mr. Podell. Now go out there and knock them on their ass.
Did you you did a million.
Stewie Stone, folks.
Come on, come over here. Hurry up, get over here. Sit on my lap. Come here. What? You got to talk in the mic. Come over here. Sit on my lap.
Thank you very much. I don't want to tell you something. You got two hands on me. What's that other thing poking me in the back? I only came out to ask you guys to hold it down because I'm trying to sleep back there. And I just found out I have to do 9 shows in this room in the next 2 days. And I have to sleep because I'm an old Jew. And
that's what old Jews do, right?
We sleep.
You sleep.
We sleep.
What do you think an old Italian does?
Well, I don't know. Do you dream about peeing?
How did you know? You son of a...
Okay. Sex is over. Peeing is in now, you know.
Peeing is good.
Oh, yeah.
Peeing is good.
I got to tell you something.
If you can pee, you're alive.
I go in the men's room and I stand there and I talk to it. Can we start? I really hate it, if you want to know the truth. When I was young, it was a fun thing to have. Now it's really a pain in the ass. I think when you get older, Jews, they shouldn't circumcise you like...
What should they do?
Well, they should wait till you're older and just take the damn thing off. When I was young, I needed that quarter of an inch. Now, I don't give a shit now. You know, when I work now, people say, "Excuse me, Stewie, how long are you going to be on stage?" You know, they have to know for the lights. And I say, "Listen, folks, I will tell the audience, I will come out and I will talk to you lovely people. And when I have to piss, I will leave you lovely people." But I have to tell you, these are the two greatest guys. I know them over 50 years. They keep what show business is all about alive. Because now the show business, now everybody has 92 dancers and cannons going off. We come from a time when Bobby, a great talent, would stand on the stage by himself and entertain the people. And unbelievable. And I first met the Gita 50 years ago in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And he called me on the phone, and it's the first time I heard, "Hi, I'm the Gita with the heater with the hot sauce." I said, "Who the freak is that pain in the ass?" But he's the best. God love you. I'll see you all tomorrow.
Thank you, Stu.
Louis Stone. You know, Bob. Listen.
Go ahead.
That represents when show business, a singer would always have a comedian opening them up.
Absolutely.
Sinatra, with our dear friend who's now passed away,
Pat Henry.
Pat Henry. Wow.
And a gentleman who I just worked with at the Parks Casino in Ben Salem.
Yes, you just did that for Sid. Yes,
For
yes.
Sid Mark, Tommy Dreesen.
Tom Is he
Dreesen.
still living in Chicago?
No, I think he's in Vegas. I
Okay.
think he's in, or L.A.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tom Dreesen opened for Mr. Sinatra for God knows how many years.
Right.
And up
After
until
Pat-
he
after Pat passed
after
away.
Pat Henry.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
there was quite a few who
Charlie
worked.
Callis.
Charlie
Callis
Callis worked for
him.
Sinatra. There was another comedian in Vegas whose name I can't
Wait.
remember.
Who? No,
maybe,
no.
maybe Corbett Monica.
Yeah,
Corbett Monica
yeah,
possibly opened for the old man. I don't. Well, you know what? You're right.
With who?
Well, yeah, Joey opened for the old man at the Copa.
Yeah.
The Copacabana. And he said, "My God," he says, "you know, and the room is full." He says, "Wait till Frank's people get here." Wait a minute, I'm trying to remember. We were talking about just all old comedians that we all worked with. And there was a guy. Stu, what was the guy that Sinatra loved?
Oh.
No. He never did anything. No.
This was guy who was even a
obscure
comedian.
Oh, no.
Stu.
Where'd he go? He went to bed.
Oh, he went to bed. He had to go. Okay.
Morty Storm.
Morty Storm. Yes.
And Morty Storm, not a very good-looking guy, you know, and his act was, this is the way he talked. He had a big space, you know, here in the front, and he would say to the audience, "You think I would look better with a chiclet?"
Frank loved him. I remember that.
So one of his stories says, he says, "I went into this bar, and there was this naked girl, and I went over to her, and she grabbed me, and she said, 'Guess what I do?' I said, 'You're a brain surgeon?'" She said, no, guess again. She said, I'm going to take you over to my house. I'm going to show you something that's going to knock your eyes out. She did. Her husband. But there used to be a restaurant in New York called Separate Tables.
Yeah.
It was owned by a guy by the name of Louis D. Louis Dome, a sweetheart of a man. And like Jerry said, Sinatra loved this guy. He
22nd Street, 22nd and 2nd Avenue.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And it was a great restaurant.
Great restaurant.
Great restaurant. And Sinatra would be there and Morty Storm. And they would put like a little, crate, and Morty Storm would get up on it, and they'd have a flashlight. And he started, and he's on like for 45 minutes because Sinatra's loving him. And Louis D came over to him, who's the owner of the place.
Louis
he said,
Dome.
Frank, get him the hell off. The cash register ain't ringing for crying out loud.
The other place was Rocky Lee's. Rocky Lee's, they used to hang on 2nd Avenue.
I don't know that one.
Rocky Lee's, because it was open till 7, 8
Louis
o'clock in the
Small.
morning, right? Yeah.
In the wee small
Hours of the morning. But, out of all the performers, because you are the most talented of this world of our performers, who were you agree, right? Who really, other than talking about Bobby Darin, okay?
Wow.
Who really impressed you that you said, man, I would like to achieve that?
Sammy Davis.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you a story. My mom, my dad, I wasn't married at the time, and we went over to the Latin Casino in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, right? Sammy was performing. Now, I had been in Sammy's company before, so I go backstage to say hello to Sammy. So Sammy says to me, Bobby, when you were going to invite me over your house for an Italian dinner? I said, Sammy, anytime you want to come. He says, I'll be there tomorrow night. With his conductor, George Rhodes. Now, my grandmother came from the old country, Camden. And then when she moved to... She came from a place in Italy called Provincia di Campobasso in Abruzzi.
Abruzzese.
Abruzzese, yeah.
Gli Abruzzese.
Yeah, mezzo Abruzzese.
E Napolitano.
E Napolitano, mezzo
Puri.
Abruzzese, mezzo Marchigiano.
Oh, not too far away.
Marchigiano is on the east coast of Italy, off of the Adriatic Sea. And one time I had to do a golf tournament for Perry Como, and I took my father with him. So I introduced my father to Perry. I said, Mr. Como, this is my father, Adrio Rydell. That's my real name, Rydell. And Perry Como said to him, where in Italy, your Pugliese, where did your people come from? And my father said, Marchi. And Perry said, you're not Italian. That's what he said. Because he's Abruzzese, Perry Como. So anything, if you're not Abruzzese, you're not Italian,
The best cook.
Anyway, getting back to Sammy. Now, my grandmother, she was a tremendous cook. And we had lasagna, maragota, we had scarole and beans, we had this, that. And Sammy's and it was a tremendous meal. Now, my grandmother, coming from the old country, she didn't know what to make for dessert. She served watermelon. I swear to God. And Sammy had a heart attack. He laughed so. You remember how Sammy used to do? He absolutely adored it. Absolutely adored it.
I only wish that you people would have known Sammy Davis as we knew him. I was his best man when he proposed, and it's in the book. When he proposed, Bobby's got a book.
What page is it? I don't know.
You'll see it. There's a picture.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
You'll see a picture of
Oh, the
Sammy.
one with the watermelon. Yeah, I see it. Okay.
But he, with all of the talent, he was the humblest guy.
Yes, he was.
He would walk down the street. See, there's the difference between Frank and Sammy. Frank would have an air about him that people would really want to go up and say to him, but they're afraid. And with Julie, with Sammy, hey, my man, hey, boop,
Absolutely, yeah. One night, when I was making Bye Bye Birdie, which was 1963, thank you. And I used to go to Patsy the Amores.
Yes.
Right? And Sinatra always frequent. Patsy de Mortis, and he had a specialty on the menu, Sinatra's something steak Sinatra.
Yeah.
Steak Sinatra. Remember Carl Matola, my drummer?
Yeah.
So
Great drummer, by the way.
Oh my God, yeah, he was tremendous. He was with me for God knows
How
10.
about Topsy Turvy? Remember the cat that beep bop bop?
Cozy Cole.
Yeah, yeah.
Cozy Cole, are you kidding?
Wow,
Yeah.
these were musicians. See, Bobby grew up in a world of music, where you hung out with cats, Buddy Rich, and cats like that.
Yeah, but, oh my
So
God.
how about the story with you and Buddy Rich? I mean,
My first appearance at the Copa, we had two gentlemen, a guy by the name of Lou Spencer, who staged my act, and he was originally a tap dancer with a group called the Dunhills, who used to perform and open for Danny Kaye years ago. Yeah, yeah. And a guy by the name of Noel Sherman, who did all of my special material. So Lou Spencer was very, very friendly with Buddy Rich, and he takes me over to see Buddy at Birdland in New York. And Buddy's only working with a quartet, piano, bass, drums, and piano, bass, drums, Sam Most on flute. And he introduces me from Birdland, Buddy Rich. Gave me a wonderful introduction. And after the show, he comes over and he sits with us. So I said, Mr. Rich, I said, may I have your autograph? And he put out his hand and he shook my hand. He says, that means more than an autograph. Yeah. I said, okay, But through the years, we became a great story. His very first album, when he did West Side Story, when you open up the album, the whole left side of the album is Cary Grant, Judy Garland, you name it, it was on there, and I'm on there as well. Wow. Signing an autograph to Buddy. And years ago, Bobby Darin, I have a picture of him. It's all charcoal. I don't know who did it, but Bobby signed it to me. And he just said to me, Dear Bobby, I wish for you what I wish for myself. Your friend, Bobby Darin. And I wrote the same thing to Buddy Rich. Dear Buddy, I wish for you what I wish for myself. Your friend, Bobby Rydell. And we became really, really tight. And I would go to dinner with him. We would go to Patsy's.
yeah.
What are you going to have tonight, Bob? I'm going to have some of that veal scabellini. Or some of that, Ravoli, or some of that Nuckies, And and Buddy Rich would fall down, right? Now, we went to the Monterey Jazz Festival, and Buddy and I are in the wings, and there's an avant-garde jazz group, trio, playing, and they're playing. Ding bong bong, ding go. Buddy says, what the hell are they playing, man? I said, Buddy, you don't know that tune? No, man, I don't know that tune. I said, Buddy, it's Stardust. And I would start, and now the purple dusk of twilight time. And he would fall down, things like that. What do you mean you don't know that tune? It's Stardust.
Did you ever work with Buddy Hackett?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I forget how we did. I opened for him in Atlantic City. Now, I went to see him before. I go into his dressing room. Pitch black, freezing, he's naked. Buddy, I just want to go and say hello, this, that, the other thing. Okay, Bobby, go out there, kill him. So I go out, and I do a fine show, and now he comes out. He says, how'd you like Bobby Rydell? And everybody, they applaud. And he says, I didn't want Bobby Rydell. I wanted somebody else on my show. But I got a call from a guy by the name of Nunzio.
Nunzio Canino Tumpa.
He said, I don't want Bobby Rydell on my... He said, look, do yourself a favor. We want Bobby Rydell on the show. Okay, so Bobby Rydell's on the show. He says, so I went to bed, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and there was a clam's head at the bottom of my bed. I don't know if I blew a clam's head at the bottom.
Out of all of the things, think about it. Listen, you can't... His book is amazing. You got this stuff in the book, right?
I'm sorry?
You have all of this in the book, right, about No, what we're talking about, you don't have in the book. In your book.
My book.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stories in my book.
Really?
Yeah, sure. It's a very honest book. I mean, I don't pull any punches in the book. I talk about my family, and there's a lot of things. It's a very sincere, very, very honest book. I'm very proud of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great book.
Thank you.
Why didn't you? You're going to be doing a book signing, though, right?
Yeah, I think here or
This
right
is my
here?
book. No, I guess around the corner. Yeah, I don't even know where I am. I've been doing this 10 years, and I still get lost.
You haven't known where you are for a long time.
That's the secret of my success.
I know. Hey, my man. He could be on a ship in an alley. Hey, my man.
Listen, we're going to take a break. Just give us the cue. We're going to be. Oh, we're going to end it now. Oh no, we're going to be coming about 5 minutes. What did she? 7 minutes. Talk for 5 minutes? We can talk for 5 hours. Let me tell you, Bandstand, Dick Clark.
Yeah.
We know how important he was, but explain what would happen. You could be an unknown today, and if you were on Bandstand,
Absolutely.
the next day, your record was heard all across the country.
From the East Coast to the West Coast, 3:30 to 5 o'clock every day. 3:30 in the afternoon, American Bandstand. When I signed with the label that I had all my hits with, Cameo, which later became Cameo Parkway, Bernie Lowe was the boss of Cameo. And when I was on the Paul Whiteman TV Teen Club show with the Paul
He was
White,
the piano player.
Bernie Lowe was the piano player for Paul Whiteman. I never knew that till like 7 years later when I signed with Cameo. Anyway, I had 3 records for Cameo, and Bernie would take the acetate, the dubs, play them for Dick. Dick turned 3 of them down. And at that point, I said, I was really happy playing drums, man. I don't need this, man. I was really happy playing drums. And then Bernie took the 4th dub to him, and Dick put the needle down on the dub, and he said, "That's a hit."
That's the hit.
And my first hit was a song called "Kissin' Time," the summer of 1959.
And it was pop, pop, pop. So it's.
Ba-dum, bum, bap, bat, dat, do, dat, do, dat, bum, wee, da, ba, do, da. They're kissing in Cleveland, Kansas City too.
Bobby, the rhythm as a drummer, I think really enhanced you as a singer and with your rhythm on stage.
Oh, absolutely. I've had a lot of drummers in my career. The drummer who is with me now, my conductor, he's been with me it's going on to 42 years. Yeah. His name is David Covenant. He's a wonderful, wonderful player, and we're very, very dear friends, which is most important to me. But, being a drummer, that's why all of my conductors have been drummers. A lot of people use piano players. I just want the piano player to play. I want the bass player to play. I want things happening in the rhythm section.
He's driving it, man.
Oh, yeah, because if it's not there, you got to get that pow. You got to get out there. And the basic thing about, doing all of that is time. Yeah. Time is the most important thing, because there are nights where, let's say I'm not really feeling all that good. I don't want to do it in the tempo, Instead of like wild one, God thing, it can be like this. Let's do it this way tonight. Wild one. I'm only kidding.
Hey, listen, you went from a rock and roll to doing those songs to Volare. How'd that happen?
We were in New York City, recording at RCA Recording Studios, doing an album. Bernie Lowe never really released the album because we didn't like all of the tunes that were on the album. But 3 of the songs that we recorded that day was Volare, Sway, and Old Black Magic. So I was coming off a song called Swingin' School.
Which was rock and roll.
We needed another record. And we hadn't been in the studio to record anything. Bernie went back to listen to what we did in New York. He listened to Volare. We got the 3 girls, whoa, whoa, yeah, and oh, Bobby, oh, and we released it, and it became my second million seller.
That was the transition in your career.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I always wanted to do, and I did a big band album with Cameo, but it wasn't, it wasn't like Darin, or the old man like Sinatra. Nothing. It was like boom, boom, pat, bat, that, boom, boom, pat, bat. We did it like in style of the old bands.
Yeah.
Dorsey, Tex Beneke, Artie Shaw, Benny Goodman. It was nice.
Yeah.
It was a very nice.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to swing. I really wanted to.
Volare, man, you nailed it. The original, as you know, Domenico Monduno.
And I met him in Italy. No, I met him at, what was the club in Brooklyn? The town.
Oh, no, the Elegante.
Town and Country.
Town and Country.
I met, and he called me up on stage, and we did Volare together.
Really?
Yeah, he did it in Italian. I did
Yeah.
Italian, and I did it, of course, in
But
English.
yours was a swinging.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess most of the people, if you're getting married or having an affair or so on and so, they play my Volare, not Domenico Modugno, not Dean Martin.
No,
Mine.
Yours had a whole different feel. You were a rock and roller that took a classic piece of song. That song to me is what changed Bobby Darin with Mac the Knife.
Oh,
In the
absolutely.
way the public looked and clubs looked at
Sure,
you.
because before that was Splish Splash. I was taking the bath
Yep.
long about Saturday
Queen
night.
of the Hop.
Yeah, Queen of the Hop, and then all of a sudden, boom, boom, oh the shark, baby, boom, boom. It was great.
And
Man.
and I don't know if you know, but Atlantic did not want him to release that. Even Dick Clark did not want him to release
Absolutely.
that. Dick Clark said, the kids aren't going to jitterbug to Mac the Knife. Ahmet Erdogan in Wexler said he recorded for ATCO, which was a subsidiary of Atlantic. And they said, we're not going to. And he said, if you don't release this, man, there's no more contract after my contract's up. And that was the beginning and the change, 59.
Yeah.
Sammy, by the way, wrote the liner notes on that album.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Did
that's
he?
all.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sammy loved him. Sammy loved him. Sammy was the type of guy, if he saw you had talent, man, he embraced you. And that was show business. When a performer who made it saw somebody that had talent, they helped him along the way. They opened up the doors for them along the way.
When you go back and you talk about these kind of people, they weren't just talented, man. I mean, they were scary talented.
Yeah.
You just go. One of the first time I saw Bobby Darin was at the Desert Inn in Vegas. And, he comes out and he's swinging and he's doing all of it. Of course, he's doing Splish Splash and Queen of the Hop. You got to do that, of course. People want to hear those songs. So, but then he did a thing called the Stars Bar. And he goes to the bar and he starts drinking, right? And he gets drunk, right? He proceeds to get drunk and he falls asleep. And he becomes Cary Grant, James Cagney, Humphrey Bogart, all of the great actors back then. And he nailed them. Because he was drunk and he fell asleep, and he's in the Stars Bar. Where are they at? Where are all the stars coming to the Stars Bar? And he falls asleep and he becomes all of these people. It was fantastic.
You remember Guy Marks? You guys know who Guy Marks was?
Nah, nobody knows.
Well, they should know because of the Joey Bishop show.
Yeah, but he was only on a couple of episodes because
I got it. They got into a little...
he was getting more laughs than Joey Bishop. So Joey Bishop got rid of him and hired Corbett Monica. Yeah.
True story.
Guy Marks. There's a lot of stories which we cannot
we can't
mention.
tell the stories about.
But I did a juvenile diabetes telethon with him at resorts. And we're just sitting around waiting to go on. So I would say, and Guy from South Philadelphia. And I would say, Guy, what happened to Rocky? Rocky took a cab. He said he took a cab? I said, yeah, he went to the movies.
You know what that means?
He died. He took a cab, went to the movies. He died. That was Guy March.
Disappeared. He was going with one of the McGuire sisters.
Going with, not
Not Phyllis was
not
going with
Phyllis.
Sam.
Who was? Yeah.
Phyllis.
Phyllis-
Dorothy.
Not Dorothy.
Phyllis.
Who was the other one? Chris.
Chris, yes.
Christine.
From Cleveland. They were from Cleveland, if you remember. That's the only thing that was good about Cleveland.
Yeah.
Other than Alan Freed. And we love Cleveland. We're only kidding. We love Cleveland. But we talked about you. We talked about the guys that are no longer here. Young talent today. Do you see anybody that's going to come up like this?
Yeah, everybody says, who do you listen to today? I said, nobody.
Yeah.
You know, because at home, I really don't play music. I watch a lot of TV. But if I'm in my car, I put on 50s on 5, 60s on 6,
Yeah.
WIP, Sports Talk Radio, and seriously, Sinatra.
Yeah.
That's all I listen to. But the guy that I really love today, and I would like to sing just one song with him, which is the song was a hit for me, was Sway, and that's Michael Bublé. I love Michael Bublé.
You know, when Ed Rydell, I think you were when he did the inaugural. I think yes.
David Foster.
Yes, we were there. We did.
Remember?
Yep.
Yeah.
David Foster is the guy that really introduced, because Michael's from Canada.
Yes.
And
yes.
he really introduced this kid. Michael is a Bobby Rydell. He really is. He's not. He can't play drums. He can't do comedy, but with the pipes.
Oh, he's got great pipes. Yeah. He's really got great. I would just like to do, because the first song that he did was Sway, that introduced him to the public. So I would just like to go up, just. I don't care. Just let's do Sway together. You do your version, I'll do my version.
Listen, now we really have to take a little break, but we'll be right back. Okay? Can we come back? This is it. Wait. Read the books. Bobby's book will continue.
Get out of here.
And this book will tell you how it began. But listen, thank you, Guy Bobby.
Thank you also very much. For those of you who want to, get the book, we'll be somewhere.
Yeah. Bobby's got his book. My book, if you can't find it, it's in the bookshop. But somebody stole it.